What's up, guys? In this video, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link that's down below, or use my QR code right over here to sign up. If you sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100, you're going to get $20 of free Nvidia stock. If you deposit $2,000, you're going to get $50 worth of Nvidia plus a $100 cash reward. Deposit $10,000 to get $300 worth of Nvidia for free and $100, or deposit $50,000 to get $1,000 of free Nvidia stock plus $100. You're also going to qualify for an 8.1% APY on uninvested cash, and this offer ends very soon, so please use my links down below to get those free Nvidia shares. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with the overall market. So I just wanted to mention that when we look at the way the market's moving, we're quite evidently making higher highs and higher lows on the S&P 500. We just keep on bouncing and bouncing and bouncing. And then we're also treating our 20 and 50 EMAs on the 4-hour as our supports. So we keep on bouncing off these yellow and green lines here. We just keep bouncing and bouncing and bouncing off of them, which goes to show that the trend is still bullish. Also, our key EMAs also have a positive slope, which is typically indicative of more upside that's going to likely continue to come. Notice that on Friday, it was the first time since August started that we got a green Thursday and green Friday, which goes to show we're still strong, we're still bullish. There's no sign of us losing any critical supports. On the 4-hour time frame, we need to see SPY basically lose two levels. First, we have to lose 660.75 for there to be some hope for bears. And then we also have to lose 656. If 656 fails us, yes, we will be turning more bearish if we lose our 50 EMA. But as of right now, there's no sign of that. So we can't truly turn bearish until we finally lose critical support. During FOMC, with the Fed making the announcements they made, with Jerome Powell giving a speech, the market actually came down quite a bit because, once again, a 25 basis point cut was priced in. But then the Fed implied that they are planning on cutting rates again by 25 basis points in October and then again by 25 basis points in December, based off their economic projections. And then also they're doing this due to what we're seeing with their forecasts for unemployment and inflation. So that is what also helped fuel the markets, at least to some extent, and the market's still holding up decently, and the trend still favors the upwards direction. So the best thing to do is just follow the trend until we truly lose some key support. Now, keep in mind, tomorrow is going to be Monday, September 22nd, 2025. At 8:30 a.m., we have the Chicago Fed National Activity Index, which is quite minor. Then at 9:45 a.m., we have Williams and many other Fed speakers throughout the day. And at 11:30 a.m., we just have some bill auctions. That's pretty much it for tomorrow. Nothing too significant. For earnings, it's quite quiet, nothing too serious, lots of like retail. But the biggest earnings for the week is going to be Costco. So be ready for that just to be safe. When it comes to President Trump, he is saying that once again he could be instilling more tariffs on semiconductors. He wants to see China pay more in tariffs. But as of right now, there's no confirmation of anything as we're still waiting to see what's about to happen. Also, President Trump spoke with Xi Jinping saying he had a very productive meeting, a very productive phone call, if anything. They had a deal involving TikTok, but that's pretty much it. They're still negotiating a lot of different things. And for now, we don't really have confirmation on those semiconductor tariffs. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. I even looked through President Trump's Truth Social page, and so far I have not really seen anything about new tariffs. So we're just waiting to see if he changes anything. But for now, it's just a waiting game. Finally, greed is making up the majority of sentiment right now in this market. We're not at extreme greed yet. Momentum is still at greed as we're still seeing a bullish move for the S&P 500. And then we also have the puts call option ratio at extreme greed, at least as of right now, followed by the VIX being in neutral. We're going to see if that shifts or not. So for now, SPY is technically looking a little bit more bullish. As you can tell, we're just making higher highs and higher lows over and over and over again. So we're still favoring new all-time highs. We're still favoring all-time highs. So let's talk about the charts. If you're bearish on SPY, if you want to be a bear if we get bad news tomorrow, first you want to see us close below 660.75. If we do, I think we retest 656. But as of right now, we had a green bar for the end of the day on Friday. We're still pushing, and we're favoring something like this. Notice that many times SPY has a slow start. Then we start pushing towards the end of the day. We had a slow start here. We're kind of flat. After FOMC, we had a slow start. Then we saw this big push. Even on, I think it was like Thursday, we were kind of flat, although we closed somewhat in the green. And Friday, we dipped and bounced. So are we about to see some kind of like dip to 662? consolidation, then an attempt to push for new all-time highs. For now, that is what SPY is favoring in terms of this trend. Unless we lose 660.75 and 656, this is still looking more bullish to me. We're favoring new all-time highs. Now, another thing that's worth mentioning is that on the daily time frame, we're still favoring upside. As you can tell, we're just making higher lows, and we're still going to try to push for all-time highs right over here. So keep that in mind. On the QQQ, we're also breaking out higher highs and higher lows. We also broke all-time highs again on the triple Q. Now, if you want to be a bear, okay, if you want to turn bearish on the QQQ, first you need to see us lose around 594, which is where our 20 EMA is going to be tomorrow. If we reject and start losing 594, I do expect us to start dipping back down to 586. So keep those key supports in mind. If 594 fails us, we're going to be turning bearish. But as of right now, we're favoring that we could retest like 598 and bounce for 600 to 602 and then break out for new all-time highs. Looking at the trend, we're making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. I understand there is a rising wedge-like pattern on the QQQ, but there's no sign of it panning out yet. And there's no sign of us losing critical support, so we're still bullish. We also broke the all-time high on Friday, which goes to show the QQQ is still pretty strong. So we might retest 598s tomorrow. I could see that, but then I do expect this is going to likely continue to push for 600 to 602. We still look bullish. We're still holding up well, and the buyers are still stepping in. So I think we're still looking absolutely fantastic. On the IWM, we might be retesting 241.5. If we hold this, we're looking for a big bounce back up towards 245 plus. But if 241.5 fails us, we could be dipping to 238. So lose 241.5 and we could turn more bearish. As long as we hold this, we could be bouncing. I think we dip a little bit on the IWM to retest 241.5, and hopefully we bounce and start pushing back up to all-time highs. We'll see if we can bounce off 241.5, so look for a big test tomorrow. On ES, we're making higher highs and higher lows. If we lose 66.89, this could turn bearish, and then we're going to be looking for a 66.56 retest. So watch those levels. As of right now, every time we're touching this green line, see the last couple of weeks, we're just bouncing off the green line. So we might kind of consolidate in the morning, then eventually start pushing for 67.50 plus. As of right now, ES is looking more bullish and is favoring new all-time highs. NQ is favoring 25,000, the psychological level. If we lose 24,658, we could be dipping to 24,457. But as of right now, we're just uptrending and we're going to be favoring 25,000 for now. For Bitcoin, we're holding up well. As you can tell, we're making lower highs here. We need to get back above 116,000 to be bullish. If we lose 115,000, we're bearish, but I'm favoring once again that this might be dipping towards 115,000 before it tries to bounce. Once again, forming a potential double bottom like this, and that could once again lead to upside, so keep that in mind. On Tesla, we're looking bullish, okay? Now, here's the thing. 440 is a very tough resistance historically. If you go back on the charts, 440 is going to be a little bit tough to break, but I still think we go a little bit higher. Tesla just announced they're expanding their robotaxi, and they're doing some tests in Arizona, which is great news for them. We're holding support right now. Now, if you want to be a bear on Tesla, you want to see us lose 414. If Tesla loses 414, yes, we could turn back down towards 402. As long as we're above 414, we're going to be favoring a test of 435 tomorrow, a dip, and then potentially a higher move to 440. Also, keep in mind we're bouncing off support, so I think 435 could be tested, and we could continue to uptrend for now. Now, on Nvidia, I'm a little bit concerned about this. See the white line? We just keep on rejecting off it. We need to get back above 178 to be bullish. I think that Nvidia might retest 175, and we're going to see if we can still bounce off this. There's still hope for Nvidia. If 175 fails us, this could be dipping more. But if we hold this, we're looking for a bigger bounce. So be careful. If Nvidia loses 175 and dips more, this could actually slow the QQQ down a little bit. But then we could still bounce again. So be careful with Nvidia. Look for a test of 175, and we'll see how it goes. Apple's looking more bullish, favoring 246.5. If that breaks, I think we're going for 250. We're still looking bullish on Apple. There's no sign of a major defeat, a major loss. So long as we don't end up losing 240, we're going to be favoring 246.5, then 248 is our targets. It still looks bullish to me. Netflix is respecting this trend line going higher. We could also notice that we're forming a cup and handle. So as long as we don't lose this trend line, we're going to likely continue to uptrend and eventually push for 1250. For MSTR, if we end up losing 337, we're looking for a dump back down to 330. But as long as we hold this, we're going to likely continue to uptrend for the 350s. We're making higher lows so far, so we're favoring 350 plus on MSTR. Celsius is making lower highs here. We need to get back above 55.8 to bounce. If we lose 53.6 for we're bearish, I'm hoping we try to retest 55.8 to 56, and we'll see if we get some kind of rejection or not. For Supermicro, we're also kind of like range bound right here. We have resistance at 46.5 and support at 45.26. I favor 45.26, and we'll see if we bounce off that. If not, we're looking for 44. So we'll see how it goes. Palantir also has a nice accumulation. We're looking bullish. We're favoring that we ultimately want to go back up to 188. I do think tomorrow we dip a little bit towards like 178, and we're going to be bouncing for essentially 190. Rivian has a nice accumulation. As long as we don't end up losing 14.27, we're going to be favoring 14.75. SoFi is looking bullish. Nice accumulation as well. As long as we don't lose 27.8, we're going to be favoring the 30s. 30.5, for example, is going to be looking very probable. Look for a test of 28.5, then a big bounce up towards the 30s. Now, AMD is making lower highs, as you could tell, unless we get back above 158 to bounce. This could test that and start dipping back down to 155. ARM is making lower highs here. We need to hold 140. Might be retesting 140. We'll see if we bounce. PayPal has support at 68.1. If it doesn't hold, we're looking for 67.5. Coinbase is trying to bounce for 348, and we'll see if we break out or not. Amazon's consolidating between 234 and 230. I think we likely continue to do so until we get some kind of break. As long as Meta does not do 773, we're going to be favoring a bounce back up towards 785. So watch 773. As long as we don't lose this, we could be favoring the 790s. Google is going to be favoring essentially 260 as our target. As long as 250 does not break, it's looking very bullish and favoring new all-time highs. And Microsoft is still bullish. We have 518 as resistance. If that breaks, we're looking for an attempt for 522. A few more things. We have the VIX, which is rejecting. We're just rejecting off our EMAs, and we have a gap to fill. So this might be coming down to fill the gap around 15. The 10-year has 4.15 coming. It might be going a little bit higher. The dollar has resistance at 97.8, so it might be rejecting if that fails. And crude is coming down. So for now, I just want to make it very clear that we're showing no signs of major rejection yet. Unless we start to lose these EMAs, we have not lost 660 or 656 on SPY. So we're still bullish. We're actually favoring maybe a dip in the morning to by 1 or 2 points before we start breaking out for new all-time highs. The market's bullish until it's not, so the best thing we could really do is just follow the trend. Now, could there be some kind of corrective phase coming? I think a lot of people are asking me about that. The answer is it still could be in the works and likely is, but like I said before, there's no sign of it yet. So we have to wait for confirmation, and the best thing to do is just play the charts in front of you and just remain very, very unbiased, at least from this point on. So I just like to be unbiased, and I like to just be very, very patient with this market. I know the market's very tricky. It's out to just, once again, trick a lot of people because the market makers benefit from that. And I want to warn you guys that during the first 20 minutes or so before the market opens, there's a lot of chop. There's a lot of uncertainty. So sometimes there could be a lot of chop coming in the mornings. But then ultimately we do like to get bought back up, and that's what keeps on happening. So when you're trading, be very, very careful in the morning. Be patient. Wait for a very, very good setup, and we'll see if we could catch good entries. Also know that if the market does not give you a good entry, even if the market's volatile, if you miss your entries, it's better to just hold back instead of trying to force trades or to be rushing into anything. And I say that just to give you guys some insights about how things are going to be moving forward. So with that being said, I thank you all for listening. Have a very awesome rest of your guys' weekends, and I'll be back very soon tomorrow with another update. Until then, I wish you all nothing but the best, and peace out.